The first time I ever saw Dwayne Johnson was this moment. This would have been somewhere between 1998 and 2000. I was literally flipping through channels and stumbled onto one of the most iconic catchphrases in pro wrestling history, and I wasn't impressed. Now, I've never been a fan of wrestling, and The Rock was the quintessential example of why. He was cheesy, over the top, and fake. I mean, who talks in the third person? The second time I saw The Rock was in 2001's The Mummy Returns, the sequel to Brendan Fraser's monster hit film, The Mummy. And The Rock played the Scorpion King, which just took me out of the movie completely. I couldn't watch his scenes. Every time he was on screen, all I could hear was... Then they gave him his own spin-off movie a year later. My feelings toward him turned from mild distaste to utter disdain. And over the next 15 years, The Rock slowly became Dwayne Johnson as he shifted from pro wrestler to movie star. And I refused to watch it happen. 2004's Walking Tall? Never saw it. 2005's Doom? Didn't watch it. 2006's Gridiron Gang? Nope. 2007's Game Plan, 2010's Tooth Fairy, and 2010's Faster? No, thank you. And then began what I call the Dwayne Johnson franchise era. Starting in 2011, Hollywood realized a secret formula. If they had a waning franchise they wanted to rescue or a weak existing IP they wanted to boost, all they had to do was cast The Rock. I mean, see for yourself. 2011, The Rock was added to the Fast and Furious franchise. 2012, he was added to Journey 2, once again ruining a Brendan Fraser sequel. 2013 was G.I. Joe Retaliation. 2014 was Hercules. 2017 was Baywatch. And Jumanji. And then 2018 was Rampage. I mean, we're kind of still in that era. Earlier this year, they gave The Rock another franchise spin-off movie with Hobbs and Shaw. And in the coming years, they're going to try and launch new franchises with him based off existing IP. There's Jungle Cruise, Black Adam, and the reboot of Big Trouble in Little China. All of this makes me wonder why. Why do people like this guy? What does the majority of the world see in The Rock, and how did I miss it? I mean, how did he go from cheesy wrestler to serious actor? I don't know. Okay, here's my plan to try and understand Dwayne Johnson. I need to actually watch one of his movies. Since Jumanji 2 is coming out next week, and my love for Jack Black can basically overcome anything, I'm gonna watch Jumanji. But that's just phase 1. I also have a hunch that something in The Rock's wrestling roots adds to his success as an actor. I mean, wrestling is still entertainment that relies heavily on drama, but I know absolutely nothing about wrestling. So I asked video essayist Joseph Monticello to explain it to me. He made a short essay that I'll watch right after the movie, and that's phase 2. But through the magic of video editing, you get to see it right now.
To understand The Rock's trajectory in the pro wrestling world, we have to go back to 1996. It's the annual Survivor Series event, this time emanating from Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world. It's on this grand stage under the brightest lights that we first lay our eyes not on The Rock, but on Rocky Maivia. Yes, this tasseled, wide-eyed, big grinning goober is the man who would become the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Unfortunately, the New York City crowd didn't take kindly to Rocky Maivia at all, and the WWF crowds showered him with boos, hatred, and even chants of "Die, Rocky, die." Rocky Maivia as a character, the well-loved hero and upstart, was a complete and utter failure. Then, The Rock turned heel. Turning heel, for fans of pro wrestling or of TV tropes, is when a once heroic character turns to the dark side of villainy. And The Rock did just that, affecting a more villainous and arrogant persona, lashing out at the fans for their hatred and referring to himself in the third person. By tapping into his real feelings of frustration with the fans and infusing his innately powerful charisma, The Rock became one of the most popular wrestlers on the WWF roster, in spite of his dastardly antics. From that point forward, whether portraying a hero or a villain to the WWF crowd, The Rock was enshrined as one of the all-time greats of the business. His bombastic delivery, impeccable sense of rhythm, razor-sharp wit, and undeniable charisma transformed him from a dead-on-arrival character to one of the most recognized names not only in pro wrestling history, but pop culture history as well. Through the sheer force of his likability and charm, The Rock achieved a level of cultural crossover from pro wrestler to bona fide megastar that has been seen only a handful of times in the world's history.
The first time I saw Dwayne Johnson, I wasn't impressed. The last time I saw him, he changed my mind. Well, I finished it. Jumanji was good. Okay, fine, I loved it. The Rock was great. His performance in this movie was so strong that I actually kind of like him now, okay? And Joseph's video was completely eye-opening. I didn't know any of that, really. I guess I've gone from distaste to disdain to admiration? But I think that's the key. What I'm starting to realize is that more than anything else, Dwayne Johnson is a master at winning people over. He did it with wrestling fans who initially hated his character, and he did it with me. And I think the reason it took me 20 years to come around is because I was so just stubbornly against him. I let my arrogance and negativity get in the way of simply enjoying the experience of watching a master entertainer do what they do best. I see now that Dwayne Johnson isn't just some pawn for the movie studios to throw into a franchise for cash grab. He's a trained and seasoned actor who got his start by winning over the toughest live crowd in the business. And I'm gonna think twice before just writing somebody off like that. It isn't fair to them, and it's not very Gosh. Andrew, you're ruining my takes, man. What is it?
Hey, do you want to watch the Watchmen movie with some of the guys before we start watching the show? What do you think?
Oh God, no. I hate Zack Snyder movies.
Hey, get this. Who watches the Watchers of Watchmen? Get it? Get it? Isn't that... No?
If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, drop me a comment, and please consider subscribing and joining our mailing list. I also want to give a special thank you to Joseph Monticello for teaming up on this video. He does great work, and you should definitely check out his channel. You can find all the links to everything in the description below. Thanks for watching. And remember, positivity is a choice that we can all make, and you are capable of love and are worth loving. We'll see you next time.